If I could only keep 3 books in my entire library to help me build a deeper, more powerful relationship with God, it would be these 3. Because let's be honest, prayer is difficult. It can feel dry, quiet, and confusing. But this channel is for builders, not drifters. Builders press in and make plans. Drifters back out and make excuses. If you're ready to stop drifting in your faith, these 3 books, which I've ranked in the exact order you should read them, are the only 3 blueprints you will ever need. So let's jump in. First off is Power Through Prayer by E.M. Bounds. This is a short read, but you're going to want to take your time with it. Bounds packs a lot to think about in a small package. The reason this book kicks us off is because it builds a conviction in your life about the power and necessity of prayer. Without a conviction of prayer, you can't build a prayer life. Bounds was a man who had a deep conviction about prayer, and it showed in his own life. People who were close to him said he woke up daily at 4 a.m. and prayed without interruption until 7 a.m. He's famously quoted as saying, "Talking to men for God is a great thing, but talking to God for men is greater still." What matters about this author is that he lived it out himself. He's not speaking from theory, but from reality. This book is the overflow of his life of prayer and intimacy with God, and it will build something in you that you can build on for the rest of your life. Second is A Praying Life by Paul Miller. This book was recommended to me by a friend when I felt like my life had been flipped upside down, but in a good way. I had such a radical revelation of God's rest that it actually disrupted the way I viewed prayer altogether. I didn't realize how much of my prayer life was performing for God, trying to get Him to do what I wanted Him to do. Miller's whole point is that prayer isn't about performance. It's about returning to a childlike faith. When my prayer life was in flux, this is exactly the book that I needed. What I appreciate most about this book is how real it is. Paul Miller doesn't sugarcoat the difficulties of prayer, but he doesn't leave those difficulties undealt with either. He gives you an actual practice, not just a mindset, what he calls prayer cards, a simple, practical way to track who and what you're praying for so it doesn't just live in your head and disappear. This book has sold over 500,000 copies for a reason. It's full of practical applications you can start doing right away. After you've built your conviction with E.M. Bounds in Power Through Prayer, now you build your routine with A Praying Life by Paul Miller. And that brings us to our third book, Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire by Jim Cymbala. Jim Cymbala started the renowned Brooklyn Tabernacle Church in New York City. As he tells the story of how this church started, you'll learn it was truly built on the foundation of prayer. He took over a dying church congregation of about 20 people meeting in a rundown building, and it grew into a church of thousands. Cymbala told his congregation early on that the Tuesday night prayer meeting would become the barometer of the church, the gauge by which they would measure success or failure. Not the sermon, not the music, but the prayer meeting. And it paid off. This book was named the Christian Book of the Year, and it explores the ups and downs not only of his own life, but also the story of the church, and most importantly, all the ways that God has moved powerfully through the humble act of prayer. This book will make you want to pray bold, scary prayers because it shows that God really does answer prayer in a big way. Start with Bounds, get practical with Miller, then pour the fuel of prayer on top of it all with Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire. Stop waiting until your prayer life feels ready. Pick one of these 3 books and start this week. But look, even with the best books in the world, when you actually close your eyes to pray, sometimes it can feel awkward. And if you want to break through that barrier, I want you to click on this video right here, where I explain exactly why prayer feels so awkward and the simple mindset shift that fixes it instantly. So click it and let's keep building.